If I'm carrying out my life, trying to live for God, trying to be righteous, trying to be good, trying to be holy, trying to love people in my own power and my own ability, guess who doesn't have any space to work? God doesn't have any space to work. There is great spiritual depth. There's great spiritual maturity to be obtained and to receive from God. But you never move beyond Jesus saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." You never move beyond being poor in spirit yourself, by yourself. You never move beyond a place where you should mourn your condition by yourself. You never move beyond a place where you should be hungering and thirsting after righteousness that you cannot get on your own. You should always be in this kind of heart and attitude and mindset, because then the kingdom is available to you. Then you can start receiving things from God. And you can start seeing Him transform your life. Once I realize I can't do it, it's not in me. There are multitudes of great men and women in the faith of Jesus Christ, in the history of the church, who God used in great ways and who God did great things in and through them. Like He did stuff in them that was like, this is real. This isn't just going to church and going to a church service. No, this is my heart, and I'm being changed for real. It's transforming me. And those people saw people's other lives transformed because God was working in them and through them. And those great people down through the history of the church, almost without fail, they all came to a place where they recognized just how weak they were after they gave their life to Jesus, surrendered their life to Jesus. At some point, maybe it was months, sometimes it was years, sometimes it was decades, they came to a place where they recognized, God lives in me, but I can't seem to still live in this way, right? Holy, righteous, according to God's ways. And it was when the lights came on that they realized, oh, I've been trying to live this Christian life in my own strength. I've been trying to do it. I've been trying to carry it out. I can't. Then they became, I believe, the person Jesus is talking about, who recognized, I'm so poor in spirit. If it's just me. I don't have what it takes if it's just me. Listen to the words of some of these great men down through church history. Just a couple of them, great women too. But today we've got a couple of the men. This is Charles Spurgeon. Charles Spurgeon was considered by many to be one of the greatest preachers, pastors who ever lived. Not just because of his oratory or his ability to communicate, but because of lives changed. And he said this, he says, a primary qualification for serving God with any amount of success, for doing God's work well and triumphantly, is a sense of our own weakness. When God's warriors march forth to battle with plumed helmet and with mail around his loins, strong in his own majesty, when he says, I know I shall conquer, his strength is his weakness. In other words, pride goes before the fall. If you think you're all that, you got it covered, you're going to fall. You're going to fail. But when he is trembling, when he is weak, when his knees knock together, when he has no strength in himself, then it is that the power of God rests upon him or upon her. Right? It's an understanding that I can't do it. And I'm telling you, by experience, it takes us a long time to get to the place where you realize, I can't do it. Because there's something within us, this upside-down world. You know, our flesh is part of this upside-down world. And it's telling us all the time, you can do it. You can do it on your own. You got the strength. You got the power. Even to live in God's ways. To be holy, to be righteous. I can do it. I can do it. And all the while, God is like, you can't do it. You're going to fail. Oh, there he goes again. I'm going to go help him up. because that's my son and I love him. And eventually, he's going to get it. Eventually, she's going to get it. That they can't do it. Again, Watchman Nee, one of my favorites these days, he said, God must bring us to a point, I cannot tell you how it will be, but he will do it, where through a deep and dark experience, our natural power is touched. He means basically our natural abilities, our strength, our wisdom, our whatever, right? Our natural power is touched and fundamentally weakened so that we no longer dare trust ourselves. But then at last, it is that he can begin to use us. He's saying the same thing. Once I realize how weak I am, then the power of God begins to take place in my life and begins to work in my life. Once I realize I can't do it, then the only other option is he has to do it. And it works, it's pretty pragmatic, really, because if I'm carrying out my life trying to live for God, trying to be righteous, trying to be good, trying to be holy, trying to love people in my own power and my own ability, guess who doesn't have any space to work? God doesn't have any space to work. If I think I can do it, if I think I have the power, if I think I have the strength, if I think I have the love, if I think I have the wisdom to live in God's ways and be like Jesus, then he has no space to work. But once I realize I have no love, my heart is cold, I have no strength, right? Spiritually, I can't change people's lives in my own. I have no wisdom other than my own, and that is very minimal and lacking compared to God's. All of these things, I have no ability to do it. Then guess who's got all kinds of room to work? He does. And so Jesus is driving home this point. Blessed are those who are poor in spirit, and they recognize it. Blessed are those who mourn that condition that they're in spiritually. Blessed are those who are hungering and thirsting after something they don't have, that righteousness. Because now God can work in your life. The kingdom is accessible to you. God's power, God's spirit, all the promises of God. So Paul says it in his own way. Paul was afflicted with some kind of thorn in the flesh, he called it. Something that he didn't want, that bothered him badly. And he asked God to take it away. We don't know what that was. We just know that something was bothering him. It came from Satan, was his understanding. And he said it was a thorn in his flesh. He hated it. He wanted it out of his life. And then he said this, each time when I prayed, 3 times I asked God to remove it. Each time God said, my grace is all you need, Paul. My power works best in weakness. That's a good one, right? Like, put that on your screensaver for the week. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weaknesses so that the power of Christ can work through me. Paul experienced something, didn't he? He's like, I figured something out, or God made it clear to me. I'm boasting about where I'm really weak because I know now that God works in that. He'll work through it. That's where he does his best work.